Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Robert Smirking Gun Reviews. We are finally back with another episode reviewing The Haunting of Hill House. We are doing episode 7. So full spoilers if you haven't seen the episode. If you haven't seen the show and you want a spoiler-free review, you can watch my 2-part review on the channel. The first part is completely non-spoiler. Second part is got some spoilers around halfway through. And yes, it is still taking me a long time to get through this because I've just got lots to do. But today we're going to talk about Eulogy. We're also going to talk about a few other things. So let's just get started with those. So a lot of people say that by episode 5 and 6, those were the high watermark episodes, and then it kind of starts to slide downhill. Well, I don't really feel that's the case here in episode 7. I'm enjoying a lot of people's reviews for this. It's nice to see people like Red Letter Media who you never know what they're going to say. And it was I really felt more at ease at my feelings about this show when they really liked it. And I know that I shouldn't base my opinion on other people's opinions, but when somebody else that makes reviews has the same kind of opinion as you, at least it can make you feel like you're not crazy for thinking the way you do. But they kind of also said after episode 6 it kind of goes downhill, and I don't see it here. I really don't. I think that this up to episode 6 we've got the build-up of the kids telling their stories, seeing their stories, up to episode 6 where everything kind of culminates together to this it's going to start to unravel. Things are going to happen really fast. Now, if you forget about the flashbacks, this story only takes place within a few days. And so now that the funeral, this is the day of the funeral, things are going to happen really fast in the next 4 episodes. So we're really just winding down after everything builds up, the wave crashes, and now everything is, we've kind of already hit the climax to me, which is episode 6. Other people would say the climax is somewhere in the final episode, and maybe that's just my misunderstanding sometimes of climaxes, but I really feel like this is another solid, great episode. Because we're getting to see a lot of things from Richard Thomas's Timothy Hutton character, Hugh's point of view. This is his episode. And everything, that we know about the character is, how he always says he can fix it. He can fix anything. And this is this is his realization by the end of it as he's older that he didn't fix it. That he failed as a father to protect his family. And, you could go, no doy, you had him living in a haunted house. But for story's sake, I think Richard Thomas and Timothy Hutton do such a good job here. Some of the people that, anybody that has said that it's strange that they cast Richard Thomas and Timothy Hutton as the same character when they're pretty close in age, I can understand that if they didn't look just different enough. And they did age up Hutton, in the way that they kind of aged, they didn't. Henry Thomas looks young. He still looks young. Not like E.T. young, not even Suicide King's young. But you put Timothy Hutton and Henry Thomas in the right or wrong lighting, because Henry Thomas's scenes, it's all in, full fleshed out color. A lot of these scenes, if you look at the way it's kind of washed out. The color's kind of washed out, so it can make you look older. Plus his hair and everything else, his demeanor, he's kind of slouchy, and tired looking. I think it's fantastic the way that the casting of this for his character works. It really does. Some people just don't age the same as other people. So and the acting, as far as the acting goes, I think they both did a great job. In fact, if anything, one of my major gripes I should say minor gripes really, is they didn't get enough of the father character in this show. I feel like he has to do a lot with not as much as everybody else. And that speaks something to the actors and how they perform, this almost, some would say, could say kind of thankless role. Because it's all been about kind of the mother and the kids relationship, and the dad is the one who, he's not experienced really anything until she died. I mean, and that night of, because if you think about the conversation that he has with Mr. Dudley, he's not thinking anything supernatural is going on. Not even up until like right around then. That's when stuff starts to happen for him. Speaking of Mr. Dudley, the story that he gives when Hugh kind of puts him in his place, telling him that it's not his, place to talk about what's best for his family, when he suggests that his wife go away for a little while. And the story he tells about his history with Hill House, that writing is so good. The delivery by the actor is so great because it feels so natural. It sounds like somebody really using all their faculty, their great, with the best recall you could have, to really tell the story in a way that you really want to get your point across to the person you're telling it to. The detail involved of the story and how you can kind of tell he's struggling to tell it, which if you want to see if somebody's lying to you or embellishing, like it just felt like the way people really talk. And I really like that story quite a bit. It does make you go, okay, well then why did the Dudleys let people even near this house? Why didn't they burn it down? Now there's reasons for that. We find out these reasons later, but up until now, I was still going, well then why wouldn't they just destroy this place? And again, I'm not going to spoil future episodes for people who haven't watched all of them yet. But if you haven't seen it yet, and you've watched this far, get ready for some more craziness. So we get more like the aftermath of Two Storms here. She's pissed at her husband, she's pissed at Theo, and Hugh is trying to kind of keep his kids from losing it. I really like what Luke says on there about how she was always his big sister. I thought that was great. The whole thing, I feel like with Theo, again, she's all the way over there. Again, just still keeping her distance from everyone else. I also like how they shot like the interconnection, like sometimes Carlo Gugino's Olivia would be there and sometimes she wouldn't be. It was just like all the time. This probably took a long time to shoot this scene because of all the different times that she had to be there. How, just, I don't know. The work that goes into scenes like this are great. The parts where they find the black mold in the house. That's really great. When they crack open the hole in the wall, he says, was it Father Mucker or whatever? And Steve's character's like, Dad, really? Like, I love that. That's the genuine, I'm trying not to swear in front of my kids scene. But when they kept putting their head up to the wall, the hole in the wall, I kept going, like, even now, even though after I've seen it once, on second viewing, I'm still like, oh, don't do that. You don't put your face up to dark holes in the wall where there's scratching in a haunted house show. You just don't do it. But again, that's one of the reasons why I love it, because nothing happens. It plays with that expectation again. Even later on with the sheriff, who, when he's talking to Hugh, after they find the body in the basement of the guy with the cane and the bowler hat, when he's standing there and they shoot that shot, a wide shot where you can't really see, like you're seeing a lot, but you're not seeing like directly behind the character that's talking, and he's going, "Is the house haunted?" And he's like, it's shot and said in a way that you are expecting something terrible to happen, and then it doesn't. And I love that again, because it does use those things where if you've seen enough scary movies or horror movies or ghost stories, that's the shot where something terrible happens. And I really I can't say enough about how they play with those kind of expectations, where they give you those shots where you usually get that stupid jump scare or something like that, and then they don't do anything. They just give you a really well shot scene. Speaking of those flashbacks, I really love how that whole beginning interaction with Hugh and the cop, where a cop is trying to sound like you're not guilty, you were here voluntarily, but leaving would be a mistake. You know, the way cops word things to try to make sure that they're not just gonna let some possible murderer walk out the door, but also making them feel like they can leave. I love that. Saying there's a choice when there's really not a choice. I love that. Other stuff in here, the whole we still don't know. I mean, we know, but like, if you haven't seen the rest of the show, you don't know what's going on with Theo and Shirley's husband and all that stuff. So that's still more tension created here. And then Luke disappearing near the end when Hugh notices, after they left, after he leaves to go have a cigarette, that he's taken off, and they assume that he's on drugs or he's about to go on drugs again. And they need to chase him down. We still haven't hit that moment where he's going to tell them everything. We're close. We're getting there. We're getting close, because there's only so much more that can happen before he just has to tell them everything. I love the scene where Theo and him see the dirt tracked in, and they see the Forever House smashed. And then it's undeniable, at least right now, for Hugh and Theo, that yes, that was their dead mother crawling around the side of the desk with her head smashed in. So at least we know, those two now are on the same page. Shit's really happening. Shirley coming in and them not really being able to explain it to her yet is, we know that it's just a matter of time. I also really liked Carla Gugino in this, when she's presented, like all the fragility that she's going through, when it's suggested that she take a break, and how he goes about having her take a break, and it doesn't happen until Henry Thomas wakes up and she's over him with a screwdriver to his neck. Now, if I were to wake up and Carla Gugino was straddling me, I could think of a lot of really terrible, like a lot of less thing, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if that were to happen. But if you wake up and Carla Gugino is straddling you and she's got a screwdriver to your throat, that's a whole other thing. So yeah, this is, and I almost think that if that hadn't happened, which of course it is kind of an extreme thing that they put in the script to go, okay, yeah, that definitely forces your hand to tell her maybe she needs to get away from the house. I almost feel like it's underplayed, because, I mean, I like that it's kind of playful, but because she's like, when he goes, "You think?" But then she starts to deny everything. "I didn't have a screwdriver to your throat. You're still here, like you're right over me. You know what's happening." She is so screwed up in the head now, so that when he shows her the blueprints, that it's the Forever House that she's been drawing on top of it. And that just fragility where she cracks, where you see that she's clearly not in control of herself, and she knows it. But there's also, you can tell there's a part of her that doesn't care. That, like, I don't know, it's crazy. It's really, really crazy. And again, the performance by her, like, again, Emmys, please. Some of these people in this show better get nominated, and Carla Gugino, to me, at least should be nominated for Best Supporting Actress in however they, relegate these kind of shows. And then you have the Secret Ghost in this. This is the one that I actually, before people were talking about Secret Ghosts, I had to rewind that scene in the basement where there's that face in the corner, right where he's breaking into the wall. I had to rewind that like a whole bunch of times because I kept going, there's nothing. Is there something there? And I have not looked up all the secret ghosts or anything because I just think that it kind of takes away from the show. And after the fact, I will probably go and look up one of those videos. But that face in the corner with the long hair, that's a fucking scary image because that's the kind of thing that like really scary is this peripheral stuff. Now, if it, and that it has nothing to do with the story. But it just adds another bit of creepiness if you see it without having to like notice it, like if you're purposely looking for it. Because now that it's out there, people are all going to be watching for these goddamn secret ghosts instead of watching the show. So I liked not knowing about all this and seeing it naturally, and that really creeped me out. Some people say that about the movie Hereditary, that sometimes there's just shit in the corner in the hall, like you have to really just almost be unfocusing to see the scary stuff. I feel like I'm missing a couple of things here, and it's probably more to do with Hugh. And I'm gonna, if I forget, if I remember after the fact, I'll just put it on the next video. Hopefully not in a week. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, Luke, they realize that Luke has left with her credit card and Theo's car. They don't know what he's gonna do. They think he's gonna be, you know, shooting it up his arm, but if you know what's going on, you know what, you know, if you've seen it all, you know where this is headed. So anyway, that's where I'm gonna stop it. So if you liked this video, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Review saying we'll see you in another episode. Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you later. Bye.